Good morning. I hope you all are here to learn a little bit about the connection between Revit and BIM 360 design. Oh, wow, it's a lot of people that have signed up here. So really looking forward to showing y'all some good information. Again, good morning. My name is Douglas Bray. I'm one of the AEC technical specialists here at MicroCAD. It is my pleasure to share with you, some of the interoperabilities between Revit and BIM 360 design. Today our goal is to, we're going to set up a trade folder within Docs. We're also going to create a team in design collaboration. We're also going to talk about, the link choices. There are three: live, shared, and consumed. So we're going to kind of talk about that. We're also going to look at publishing, from Revit. So the Revit users need to pay attention, closely to that aspect when it comes to publishing. And we'll be going over, why this is so important when it comes to publishing your model. Of course, hopefully most of you are aware of synchronizing, but especially when it comes to publishing, that's just as equally as important. And then we're going to kind of look at how to back up a cloud model, because as the industry and also as Autodesk move more towards cloud-based softwares, we cannot forget our IT people who really want to be able to back up this data. And when you're placing your projects up to the cloud, that pose a bit of a challenge for your IT people to back up whatever procedures they use, to back up that data on those projects. So we also have Sarah Reddick on the line, and I'll give her a chat just a minute. But today the webinar will be recorded. All of you are unmuted. However, we're going to end this webinar right around 11:30. But don't worry, we're going to stop a little short, right about 11:20, and see what kind of questions you all have. So I only have one slide for you, so I hope all of you all are smiling about that. And so let's get started. Sarah Ray, did you have anything you wanted to add to it?
No, I'll be checking that questions tab. So please do, as Douglas mentioned, just feel free to ask anything that comes up, and I will answer either privately or I'll ping Douglas here and he can show something to you. But we will be making this recording available on our YouTube page. So on our YouTube channel, you can go there right directly from our website if you haven't been on there and subscribed yet. But on our YouTube channel, this webinar will be up there later on today. And you could share that with others in your office as well if you find this useful. Okay, so that's all I got, Douglas, and you can kick it off now. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that, Sarah. Let's go ahead and get rolling here. So where we are right now, this is BIM 360 design, but we're really looking at the document management side of things. I want to start here first. So when it comes to where we are, I created a folder under the project files, and this folder that I called was design models. So during the design phase of the project, for firms that are full service or for just architectural firms, here is where I created my subfolders for each of the disciplines that's going to be uploading their models. So what I like to do is, as you see, I've already have a folder for the architectural, I have one for the electrical, mechanical, and structural. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click here, and I'm going to create another subfolder for communication. So I'm going to be utilizing this particular folder for my communications model. So it's the electrical, that would be for your lighting and power. But for the communication, that would be the cable tray and network information servers. That's going to be part of this example project. What else I want you to pay attention here is, as you see, I made this folder. There's no other subfolders underneath of it. And there is a shared folder down here. So let me kind of just talk a little bit about this and what's under each of these other discipline folders where you see consume. First, let's start with shared. So the next step we're going to go through is we're going to make a team. And the team that we're going to make is the communications team. And when you publish from Revit into the document management, it will automatically create a folder underneath your discipline, and it will call it consume. And then it will also put communication here under shared. This will automatically, again, be created once the package is created and you hit share. That's when these two things show up, as soon as you hit share, and I will show you that. But first, let's go ahead and create the team. Now that we have this discipline folder here created, we can go to our waffle, we can go to project admin, design collaboration, and here, as you can see, are the other teams that were created, and now we're going to add a team. Because we have a folder already established, as you can see right here, we're going to click here, go to our folder, and here is our communications team that we want to add. So I'm going to add. Let's try it again. That's interesting. Of course, you always got to have difficulties when you're doing a webinar. Let's make another folder. We call it COM model. Let's go back over here. Let's add our team. Let's do a refresh here. We're going to scan for new teams. Add this team. There we go. I just love when things go wrong. So now that we have that COM model team created, now let's go ahead and go over into Revit. But before we go there, let's go to the waffle. Let's go back to document management. And I wanted to share something with you. So as we see here, here is our COM model folder. Underneath that, it may consume. And then we look here under shared, here is also our COM model here as well. Now let's go over to Revit. We're going to minimize this, and we're going to bring up Revit. Now what I have here is just a basic single model. It's my communications that I have placed in here. and I'm ready to connect this up with the cloud, okay? So we're gonna go to Collaborate, click on this Collaborate, and we're going to pick BIM 360 Document Management. We're gonna hit OK. We're gonna dive down into, this is our MicroCAD Training and Consulting Hub. We're gonna go to our respected project. And now we can dive down to the folder where we want to place our model. And we're gonna go under the design models, and we're gonna pick the COM model. And then we're gonna go ahead and do initiate. And what this is doing right now is obviously it's taking the model that we have locally, the model that I have locally on my workstation, and it's going to send it up to the cloud, as well as save a model to a local cache drive, which is going to be on my C drive under the documents. It shouldn't take long for that to go up to the cloud. Okay, so now that has successfully initiated the collaboration of the model. So we're going to hit close. And if we kind of peek back over here in document management and we look under COM model, we can see here is our model right here, freshly placed here. And you can see the timestamp, 11:11 a.m. Okay. So when it comes to connecting up, we have now what we want to do is bring over the architectural model. We want to link that in. So we want to do, of course, insert, link Revit. And we're going to go down to our project files, design model, architectural, and this is going to be the live connection. So this location is where the architect uploaded their model. And so what I want to demonstrate is a change from a live standpoint. So let's get that connected. Go ahead and link that in. Right. First thing I always like to do is pin the model. Of course, we can go over here and do room bounding as a step. And so now that we have the architectural model linked in, now let me show you how a live connection is illustrated. So I also have another version of Revit running. So I'm actually in the architectural model. So what I'm going to do here is, let's say I take this door and I just flip this outward. Maybe we take this door and just move it. Let's move it here. Maybe use the align command, line these two up. And first thing what I want to do is I want to go ahead and synchronize. Okay. Now to get that change, you don't necessarily just synchronize. What you need to do is, in order to see that live change, all you do is go to Manage, Manage Link, select that trade model that you want the updated information for, and you just hit Reload. And hit OK. And as you see, now from a live standpoint, the background has updated to whatever the changes the architect has done. Now what I want to do is I want to show you how you can publish. We'll come back to the live connection, but I want to show you how important it is when it comes to publishing. So I'm going to synchronize. And when you're synchronizing, you're communicating with your other teammates, but you're not communicating with this file right here. This file is not being updated. As you see, it says version 2. Even if I hit refresh, and right now that's the architectural model. Let's go to the COM. Yeah, that is the COM model. And as you see, it's not doing any versioning here. So in order to update this information, we need to publish. So let's go back over here to Revit, and let's go to collaborate. And the first area where you need to go is you need to go to publish settings. When you go to publish settings, this is where you can go ahead and create your set. So we're going to call progress set. And then you're going to indicate what sheets you would like to include, or even like a 3D model. So you go through and you make your selections here based off of what you want the other shareholders or project managers who don't have Revit to see within your model. So we're going to hit save and close. And now we're going to go to manage cloud models. We're going to go here to our project. And now we're going to publish. So all of the changes that we've done here and the sheets we want to go ahead and send that on up to BIM 360 Design. Now, while this is processing, and if you hover here, you see how that little arrow is kind of annotating going upward, meaning that it's just sending this information on to BIM 360 Design, the document management side of things. Now, it probably take like 45 seconds for it to do this process. When it is done, you see right up here at the very top, it'll turn green, indicating that the publishing process has completed. And while this is doing that, I'm going to go over to the architectural. And I believe I've already published this one, so we'll take a look at that. And as you see here, it says the latest version of the model has been published. So now let's look at this within document management. And what we can do here is let's go over to the design collaboration. Here is our COM model team. And as you see here, it's still processing that information because we did have like 3 sheets and a 3D model. So it shouldn't take but so long for it to finish its process. But while this is doing that from a COM model standpoint, let's talk from the architectural model. So when I click on the architectural team, as you see here, this is the last time I created a package. As you can see, it was yesterday right around 5:10 p.m. When you click on that particular package, you can, well, I'm not in it just yet. Let's go back. All right, so this is finished. Okay, good. So now as we look at this publish that we've done from the COM model, we can see the 3D model that we have placed up here. And let's see if it's gonna, let's go out to see if it finished doing its sheets. It still looks like it's still processing. Let's go back over to Revit one more time to make sure that it finished doing that. We're right at 11:20, but we'll keep going. We still got some time. Just want to publish one more time to make sure that all of that information gets up. So while that's doing that, let me continue on talking. So while this is being processed, let's go ahead and go over to our architectural, and I'm going to create a packet. So you just click on there, and then we can give it a name. And this is how we're going to create a packet for the architectural set. So I'm going to go ahead and call it 225. And we're just going to call that, let's say, 50%. We're going to come down here to the set, and then we're going to save. Now that we have this particular packet created, at this point right here, this is where we're making it available. So when we hit share, it's going to take this model and send it to the share folder. Okay. So now that we got the architectural package created, let's go back over here to the COM. Look like it's still processing. So now let's go over to, we'll come back to that to see how that is going. And what I want to do is, when I go to the document management, what I want to show you here is under share, and we go under architecture, and we can see right when we send that package over, see how the timestamp is, it updated this particular model with that information. So the significance here is when it comes to when you create a packet and your different connections. So let's talk here as we're looking here. So when you link in the model from this location, this is live. And the significance about live is that you need to communicate with the architect to let you know when major changes are happening and when nuisance changes are happening. That way, it's not disrupting your design process. So if the architect is still working on the second floor, you would not need to go to the second floor. You can start working on the first floor. The other connection is that shared. If you connect up here under shared, you will get the update when the architect creates the packet and sends it to you. So it's almost like the architect is feeding you the information. So this location is for that particular scenario, when you want to be fed and let known when the changes are ready. And then the last one is consume. When we go back over here to the design collaboration, there we go, we got our sheets in there also, all this is ready. So when we go back to here and we click on the architectural set, see here that we made, at this point, I can consume it. So I'm gonna go ahead and select consume, meaning that now the architect has created a packet. I know that this is the latest version based on the timeline, and I'm ready to consume these changes that the architect has given. Okay, so we're getting a little close on time. Let me go over one point. So when it comes to the different connections, and let's go back over to manage link, and you click here, and I do reload from. I have a choice. So your choice is going to be either, as I illustrated before, you can either do it live, which is right here, or you can connect up from a shared standpoint. So I can go under shared, architectural, and I can get it here. So shared basically means that the architect's going to feed me. So I can link in the model here. And then lastly, I can link in the model from a consume standpoint. And I can, so the model will be here ready for me to consume it. Well, I need to go here. And there's architectural, and here it is. So this is the consume aspect. We got about 4 minutes left. Let me bring two important points, and then I'll open it up for questions. When it comes to publishing, you can also schedule your for BIM 360 design to schedule when you want it to publish. So let's say maybe I want Saturday at 6, and I can turn that on. And what this will do is, if I forget about publishing, this will do it for me. And then lastly, what I want to go over is, how do you back up? So let's go back over to document management. What you would do is you would go to the folder where you uploaded your model, which is this one, and I can pick the COM one. I can select this. And then what you want to do is you want to download the source file. And then all you need to do is drag and drop that over some location on your server. Now, what's significant about when you want to do this is, when you want to download the source file, you may want to do this on a day that no one else is in the model and everyone has finished synchronizing. And that way, you have the most up-to-date information, and you can do this, as frequently as you see fit. That way, if anything happens to the model up into the cloud, you have some level of backup. Do we have any questions, Sarah?
Yes, we actually had a couple come in early. One of them, let's see. So the first one was actually, how often, Douglas, would you recommend they back up the model in the cloud? Is that like?
Well, I would recommend, when it comes to backing up the model, pardon me?
No, I think you just said, is it a preference or what is the standard?
Well, I definitely would not recommend backing up once a week. I would at least, at least 2 or 3 times a week to download that source file and put it on the server. If you're, again, depending upon how big the project is and how sensitive it is when it comes to how many people you got in there working and how delicate it is, which means that you really, really don't want to lose any information, depends upon the frequency of it. So once a week is good, but for me, I would at least do it twice a week for my own personal preference.
Okay. Okay. One more question we have here, asking if, regarding what you were saying before about the different types of connections, live, share, consume. You're kind of showing us that before, but could you just elaborate more on that? Like, what do you prefer? What are people using more?
Okay. I was talking to one of our colleagues, here, and what I see most people doing is most of the firms that I see connecting up is from a live standpoint. They just go here and do it live. And the problem is that when they do that, they're getting a lot of changes that are happening, from the architect, and sometimes it's doing rework. So even though live is great because you're always getting the most up-to-date information, it just extremely requires, that communication between you and an architectural team. What I see mostly people doing from a connection standpoint is not necessarily live, is they would do it from a shared standpoint. This is what I see mostly people using, is shared, wherein when the architect or whoever the design team is create the packet, and then they share that packet with, they're ready to give you, they're ready to feed you with that information. That's what I see mostly people are gravitating towards. And then lastly is from a consumer standpoint, when the architect is ready to really have that model up there, they are ready to consume it when they're ready. So that's what I see mostly people doing, is shared.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
And sorry, go ahead. Did you want to show something
No,
else?
go ahead.
Well, this is more of a question about pricing. I'll leave this. I will say, yeah, we'll have the sales rep reach out to you. There's a question here about pricing and purchasing. So your account rep for Dave here is Dan Olson. If you want to reach out to Dan, and I'll have him reach out to you later today about that, and we can get you going.
Right.
Okay.
And then definitely feel free to, ask about training and things like that, because we would definitely love to go over this again with your team. That way they're utilizing all of these features and know what to do and how to use them and utilize them.
Right. And we'd be happy to set up some, a personal demo or like a one-on-one, just if you want to see your own, your own product demonstration with other people in your company. We can certainly do that. All right. I think we've answered it all, just those 3 questions really. So thank you, Douglas. This was excellent.
You're welcome. Now we have another webinar scheduled March 3rd. And of course it will still be at 11 a.m. And the title of this is the integration between SharePoint and Bluebeam. So I want to show you all how those two can work together for those who are using SharePoint. So feel free to, be looking for that web schedule on our website. Is that right, Sarah?
Correct. Yes, that's up there already. Yep. So the same way you registered for this one.
Well, great. Well, again, I really appreciate all of you all attending. I hope you were informed of something good, and thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.